just because you could don't mean you should. In some specific cases, if you could save, you know, a couple $1,000s from unit to unit, you look up when you, again, talking about economy of scale, you've been to save $20,000, $30,000. So we strategically went after certain units to fill them up sooner. And then we had a heavier rehab on the right side. So we knocked out the left side first, and then we started working on the right side. Okay. So when you look at these projects to scale, you almost got to look at each unit as its own individual project, as opposed to looking at the project as a whole, right? Because it could put you in a situation where you start losing a lot of money if you're looking at the whole project as a whole, because each unit is an income producer. So if you look at it from a unit per unit perspective, and that's why I like buying these garden style buildings, because unlike being all under one roof, you can start filling them up as you go, as opposed to if it was all under one roof, then depending on how it's sectioned off and partitioned, you couldn't start moving people in incrementally like that. You would have to wait until you're done with the entire project, right? So each style of building gives you a different strategy and approach to take. The hardwoods in this unit are in really good shape. So we would just sand and poly these floors. Sand, we probably won't even stain them. We just sand them down and then just poly them. These areas right here where the floor a little raised up and buckled, we could shoot those pieces back down. Or if we had to, we could cut back this section and then feather in a couple little small strips of oak. And just when we sand it all down, it'll come down to the same grade. And then, so we wouldn't put carpet in these units like we would in the downstairs units. You see what I'm saying? So that because that's what I meant by looking at each unit as its own project, because just because you could don't mean you should. In some specific cases, if you could save, you know, a couple $1,000s from unit to unit, you look up when you, again, talking about economy of scale, you've been to save $20,000, $30,000, as opposed to just a lot of investors, especially when they're novice, they just say, I'm doing everything to every unit. And it's like, it's a waste, especially when you understand who your target audience is and what's gonna be the ROI on that, right? Because for a Section 8 person, and I say this tongue in cheek because that's not the case in this situation, because hardwoods is really nicer than carpet anyway, quite honestly. Like if you're from the north, you know that hardwoods hold more value than having carpet in a unit anyway. But yeah, it's just those type of nuances that we look at to figure out how far do we go. So this the kitchen. Then you got your electric 220 plug for the stove over here, sink over here. And then we got the exhaust. For the exhaust, thank you, yeah.
Why would you ever go with carpet? Because if that tenant moves out, 9 times out of 10 you have to replace that carpet, right?
Well, 9 times out of 10 you definitely got to clean it. We don't always have to replace it. Typically we can get a couple year life cycle out of carpet, right? So it just depends. So like Dre, they got a lot of LVT downstairs, luxury vinyl tile. That's more durable and it lasts longer than carpet. But the cost per square foot on carpet, you're talking about probably a $2 to $2.50 difference. So depending on how much of that stuff you got to lay, you just got to look at what's my yield? How long is it going to take me to make that money back? Versus if I just put the carpet in now, I can move somebody in and start making money at the time the carpet come out. Now I'm cash flow positive for a couple years, and then I could go back with luxury vinyl tile. So it just depends on what the budget is and how you make those decisions. So same deal in here, right? These hardwoods in great shape. So we'll keep the hardwoods all the way throughout. And then, yeah, they just got to drop the tub. And then, so that's one thing we're waiting on right now. We ordered a bunch of tubs from Texas. So as soon as those come in, we could drop the tubs and then they could tile the same day, as soon as we get the tub set.
Knowing you rented the Section 8, do you provide them with dishwashers and disposals and all that stuff, or you leave that out?
No, we leave that out. Yeah. Now, I mean, if it's No, the answer is no. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the answer is no. Yeah, the answer is no. Like it's just not. It's not necessary. I would do that more for a cash paying tenant at a different type of property, B class property, right? Not in this C area like this. But I do, and I thought this where you were going. But what we do is we make sure we give our contractors a Section 8 checklist, because at the end of the day, what they deem is done may be done for a market tenant, but per Section 8, it ain't done yet. So that was one big hurdle that we had in the beginning, was contractors would come through, they'd be like, oh, we done. And then we go to put a tenant in, Section 8 come do the inspection, and then it's a big lag in the process. So now we just proactively give them what the Section 8 checklist is so that they already know, okay, CO2 and what's the name in, right? We got, everything is caulked. All the plugs been grounded. So we get out in front of that now, as opposed to waiting and had them, because once they come out and inspect, sometimes it could take a couple weeks for them to come back. Problem with that is that Section 8 person don't understand nor care about any of what's going on, other than the fact that they got a voucher, free money, and they want to go live somewhere. They're gonna go live somewhere quickly. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to get out in front of that if you do want to do Section 8, figure out in whatever area that you're in what the requirements are, and just get alignment with the contractor up front about it. Listen, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. I'd just be remiss if I didn't let you know, yes, we do have another one of our 5-day challenges coming up, the iFlip Challenge, where I am teaching you how to go out and build a 6- and 7-figure business in 12 months using other people's money. If you are trying to go out and build a real estate business and achieve the time freedom and financial freedom that you've been seeking all your life, then click the link in the description. Join the next challenge. I look forward to meeting you guys there. Now back to the video. So like this is a great example of what I'm talking about, right? So when these units on this side were pretty close when we bought it, right? But then when we figured out that in order to put our electric baseboard in, we had to change all the electrical configuration to have enough amperage to sustain what we were putting in. So then we had to go and cut holes in all these pretty walls to run trenches all the way back to replace the panels and up.
And do it individually, right?
100%, yeah. And so we had to upgrade each panel, right? So we had to cut into the walls. And so rather than tear everything out to make plaster mixed with drywall, we just put that. That's what I mean by you're gonna have to make decisions of, if this a $2,000 a month unit, then you tear everything out. If it's a Section 8, right? Like, we know this stuff because we do it every day. They gonna walk in and just love the place, right? But that's the, and y'all gonna see when we go to the next property, that's the different thought process that you have to go through, whether you flipping a property or you renting it out, and who you're renting it to is so important. So some people would just run conduit on top of the wall. We chose to cut the trenches in instead. Section 8 they accept either way. Like, you could run that silver conduit on top of the wall, that commercial grade. It's just, it feel less homely when that happens. You know what I'm saying?
You probably asking for repairs too, though, right?
Eventually, yeah, somebody gonna bang up against it. You know what I mean? Installing stuff. You get plush carpet like this all throughout for probably like $1,200–1,500 a unit. You put in luxury vinyl tile all throughout, you're talking about $3,500 a unit. So it's a good one-time expense. It just, you know, it just depends on where you at in the process. For me, I like to do that in units that's already cash flowing, because I can see an immediate return from that.
Now with Section 8, do you have to do like the security deposit, or like where they have to make sure, like if they damage carpet or whatever?
For sure. That's a great question. So traditionally, yes. Right now, because it's so competitive, that's one of the things that people have been doing, is waiving and giving concessions for security deposits. So for us, I told our management team, like, if it's between us collecting a security deposit or not, just waive it. If something happened, it's gonna exceed $1,000 anyway. I just got more of a cavalier mentality when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I'm not tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. I'm not saying it's not important, but if it's between getting guaranteed rent starting tomorrow or waiting for somebody that got a security deposit, like give me that guaranteed rent. They stay here for 4 months. I done got 4,000. They leave and I got 2,500 to repair. I'm still up. But here's the thing, and this the part people don't know about Section 8. If they tear your place up, they can lose their voucher. So this whole stigma and adage of, oh, Section 8 tear your place, they less susceptible to tearing your place up because they know they can lose their voucher going somewhere else. They case managers come in and do at least the annual inspection, sometimes a semi-annual inspection. Now that's more to put the onus on the owner to make sure that they keep the place up, but that's also to take inventory of like, what's going on in here?
You don't find any difference in how they maintain the property, Section 8 versus, your traditional renter?
I done seen raggedy people both ways, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's, but honestly, we've had some horrendous market rate tenants, that live with rats and roaches.
It's the program, it's the person, not the program.
Bingo. And I think a lot of the time for Section 8 people, because many of them, it's their first time having a place, that they take more pride in it too. They really feel like this, like, I got a place, you know what I'm saying? There's a dynamic of that for sure. I mean, think about it. Somebody come in and could live in this place coming from where many of them coming from, like that's a dream for them.
In what instance, because I done seen people cover up hardwood, like especially in California, they'll cover it up if they know they got renters in there. In what case would you do that, or do you not at all? Is hardwood gonna hold up, or what's your experience?
Yeah, so like the units over there, I think we got maybe 3 or 4 of them across the hall that have hardwoods that we are gonna keep we're gonna refinish the hardwoods and keep them in there. I mean, to me, like hardwoods is just more durable. If it's real wood, you know what I'm saying, as that is, I mean, that's real oak, right? So I would refinish that, because worst case, they scratch up the floors, you just resand them. You pay somebody to run a sander, a couple $100, you put some more poly on them, you ready to go. They tear this carpet up, it's a whole nother situation, you know what I'm saying? And that could be more in Cali because that's just more specific to that market as well, Like you're not gonna find hardwood floors in Florida, you're gonna find tile. Or you're gonna find laminate, because they use a lot of laminate down there. So it will vary based off of the marketplace that you're in, which is why I always say just trust the comps. But from a competition perspective, like, when organizations come over to our units, they fall in love with our units like immediately, because people not going this far for Section 8. They just not. You know what I'm saying? You see carpet in the kitchen in some of these places. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. So, and yeah, bro, I'm telling you, man, it'll blow your mind to see what like people actually market and advertise. But they know that a lot of the time people are desperate, so they take what they can get. Because this the other thing, Section 8 don't judge you on aesthetics. That's something that we had to learn. Like, we was making these, I'm like, dog, why they tripping? Like, we got the best place they like, you ain't caulk around there. I was like, y'all. So people will come in and literally have like a lesser quality place, but check the boxes for Section 8. Because you'd be wondering, like, this don't even make logical sense. Like, how our place so nice, they place not, because they playing the Section 8 game.